Joseph W. Brady's account of the recent meeting between Victor Valley College and Barstow Community College officials points out its historical significance and the precedent it sets.
Terry, back in I was appointed in 2011. 2013, I had lunch with a person who I'd heard a lot of great things about. I had actually known him. His name was Trustee Ted Baca. So we hosted them the first time and had them come on down here, and it was just great. Their board is a very engaged board. They've got a lot of stability on their board. And then the second time we went on out there and had our meeting in the Performing Arts Center. And it was monumental. It was the greatest accomplishment that I had as president the first time I was president of the board. Because one, I believe we're all one big region. They've got some great programs out there. I mean, I had no idea that they had a great cosmetology program or some of the other programs that they have. And we have great programs here, from automotive to nursing to all kinds of stuff that we do, industrial development that we're getting into. So, 1 + 1 = 3. Chocolate and peanut butter is a Reese's peanut butter cup. And so now, we hired Dr. Walden in, and they had hired Dr. Eva Bagg earlier than Dr. Walden had. And quite candidly, I told this to the board yesterday that while I appreciate the first time we met, and I knew that Dr. Wagner was totally supportive of this, I didn't quite get the feeling that Barstow's college president would. Well, with Ted's help and Fred's help and Tim Hyden's help, we did the first meeting. Well, we did this one. So last night on Thursday night, the 29th of October, they hosted our meeting out in Barstow. It took some logistics because we did it again in the Performing Arts Center in the foyer area out there. But with social distancing and keeping, and they had to bring food in, and we had all the hand sanitizers and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, it was. I sat back and I thought, wow, we've done some great stuff, and you can't do it by yourself. You have to do it with a 5-member team. The first thing, all of our trustees were there, so that was one of the kind of conditions that Barstow had imposed. Nicely with Dr. Walden is that they want all of us there. Before we didn't have that, and so we did. So all of our trustees, John Pinkerton is his almost second to last meeting before he retires and Sharon takes his place. He was there. Brandon Woods was there. Jennifer Tarpley and Dennis Henderson. Then President Tim Hyden was there. Ted Baca, Fred Baca was there. Mr. Wilkie was there, Paul Wilkie, and then
Philip
Harris. Dr. Eva Bagg was there as president. Dr. Walden was there. So we started out with just some introductions. Then the two presidents put together a kind of a presentation, and I'm just going to kind of read of some real brief notes. The first one was done by Dr. Crystal Nazio, and she is the Dean of Instruction and part of the Workforce Investment Board. I call it Workforce Investment Board. Workforce Development Board, and she gave an overview for about 10 minutes. Then we had Dr. Todd Scott. Dr. Todd Scott oversees more departments and responsibilities than literally anybody. He is the Dean of Health Services, Public Safety, Industrial Technology, Health Science, and Public Safety. He gave an overview of the great things he does. I mean, the guy is an absolute rock star. I mean, he just is very committed. Then we had Thomas Hallen. I met Thomas years ago. I met him actually through Janice Moore at the Apple Valley Chamber, and then I met him through Dr. Eva Bagg. And he is a very high-level thinker, probably one of the most high-level thinkers I've ever met. He's very much into entrepreneurial, thinking out of the box kind of stuff. So his title that they gave him, and Tom, you and I haven't had a chance to talk since we saw him. He's called the Entrepreneur in Residence. The next presentation was given by Frank Castellanos. So, Frank, there's a Castellanos restaurant coming to Victorville. I'm sorry, so if that's a little slip, that's going to be over near Bear Valley Road. That's a John Conley deal. So, Frank Castellanos does a great job. He's the director of community contract workforce. He's in charge of our new industrial building that we've leased out there through Sterling and through Eric Schmidt of Squadron out at the base for an industrial development project. He does contract ed, so he's out talking to employers all the time, like General Atomics and ComAv and all that kind of stuff. And a real passionate guy. He you can tell this guy he loves what he does, and it's great because it shows. These people are not showing up by just showing up. I mean, Crystal Nazio, you could tell by watching it. Everybody was the presentation had to be by Zoom. They love what they do. That is what I think has changed at our college in the last couple of years. Is the people that we have on the front lines out there love what they do because Dr. Walden and John Nolan and Peter M. They're bringing people on the team that best match what the goals of the college are, and now more importantly the college master plan, which we need to talk about on a segment here in November. It's extremely exciting and something that we just finished. Then we had Lisa Kiplinger Kennedy speak, and she's part of the entrepreneurial program. She's regional director of business and entrepreneurial foundation, and she's exciting. You can hear her when she talks about what's going on. And then I got about 10 minutes to talk about the High Desert Survey, what we did, how it came about, where we're going to go. I do appreciate both colleges allowing that conversation. I'm really hoping that Barstow Community College and Victor Valley Community College, in conjunction with Dr. Ted and Dr. Barbara Alejandre, with the county superintendent of schools, I know that Ted really wants to get involved in this to kind of facilitate the discussion. So what I shared with the group last night is I've been challenged by Dr. Husing and by Dr. Srotnik. I mean, we finished out the survey on October 4th, and so people want to know what's going on now. As I said to the group last night, people are concerned right now about the election, and the election. And with that, people are thinking about the holidays. They're not thinking about, are we going to implement any decisions or any strategies on the High Desert Survey. So what the plan is at this point is Dr. Husing has challenged me, John O'Haney and our big sponsor did. I've taken the 2,200 key stakeholders up here that I've identified in all the years I've been up here, and I've whittled them down to about 100. John has a hand surgery coming up here in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, I'll probably go on down maybe to his house and bring him lunch and sit down and say, okay, here's a list I've come up with. Why don't you go through the list? Why don't you get 2 or 3 people around the table that you also trust outside of me? And we'll kind of narrow it down on what this working group looks like that will then hopefully be not in charge, but hopefully be responsible for creating an entity that takes a look at the issues that came out of Dr. Srotnik's survey and then Dr. Husing's strategy for implementation. So it was fun last night. I felt we were absolutely a part of history. Tim Hyden and I agreed that we're going to work on an agenda very soon and do something probably early part of the year. You have the holidays coming up here. They had just had a board meeting the night before, and I did not realize that. And there was some traveling. There was just all kinds of stuff going on their side. And so I want to give a personal thanks to Dr. Bagg. I think I behaved myself, and to Tim. And it all went off well. We all showed up. We'd all taken a shower, brushed our teeth, and looked good. And it was fun. I'm glad to be a part of it. And the one thing that came out of it, Tim said to me, he said, if I don't continue as a trustee after 2022, but I'm kind of rethinking that pretty seriously, that this will now be an every year going back and forth, because Terry, the leverage off these 2 programs, the relationships that come off these 2 programs, you just can't put a price on it. You can't even measure what happens when you take 2 schools in a region together and just incredible things happen. I'm incredibly proud to have been a part of this the first time, the second time, and I just hope that next year our next president, which I believe will be Brandon Wood, he continues it. We do 2 of them, and then the next year we'll have our Jennifer Tarpley will be our president, and we'll see where it goes from there. So excited.